Hello, I'm Joey Haskins, and welcome back to You've Never Seen, in which I showcase a movie you've probably never seen before. There are many actors we haven't covered on this show before, but one that I feel deserves to be mentioned on here is Cher. And how could she not? She was one of the most prolific performers throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s. She had an eclectic music career, grew to prominence on television, and eventually won one of the most important awards in the film industry. She can't quite literally do it all. One of the last great films she did was in the early 90s, where she starred alongside Bob Hoskins, Winona Ryder, and Christina Ricci in her film debut. That's today's film, Mermaids. And no, the film isn't actually about mermaids, it's just a clever title as I eventually found out. No, it's really a coming-of-age story with Ryder playing the main character. It's based on a 1986 novel of the same name by Patty Dan, and tells about a girl who has her sexual awakening in the fall of 1963. Mermaids is not only one of Cher's last films before her sort of hiatus from acting, but it's also the biggest film for Winona Ryder after being in both Beetlejuice and Heathers. She plays teenager Charlotte, who lives with her promiscuous mother, played by Cher, and her superstar swimmer sister, played by Ricci. Charlotte often feels like the adult around the house since her mother goes out with whatever new rich boyfriend she has, and also because she's obsessed with Catholicism, despite her family being Jewish. Cher's Mrs. Flax, which is what Charlotte calls her mother, is a little fed up with her most recent breakup and moves her family up north, to a place where everyone knows about everything in a small town, or as we call it here, Eastport, Massachusetts. Okay, Eastport isn't an actual town here, but most of the movie was made in Essex County, particularly in the Rockport and Manchester by the Sea areas. Also, isn't it ironic that I've covered 70 films in the series and only now do I showcase a film made in the state I live in? Anyway, Charlotte is actually pretty happy to move here when she finds out that her house borders a convent, but starts to question everything when she meets the slightly older Joe, played by Michael Sheffling. Her growing love for the adult Joe starts to affect her judgment and makes her feel she's defying the Lord since she's heard rumors about Joe. But because she's a little girl, her naivete leads her to believe certain things will happen to her for defying God. Remember how I said most of the film takes place in the fall of 1963? The halfway point of the movie is a giant exclamation point in the form of the assassination of JFK. The sudden and devastating event leads Charlotte to be comforted by Joe, where they kiss for the first time, and where Charlotte feels her worst up to this point. And as a punishment from God, she thinks she's pregnant from an immaculate conception. And like I said, this is halfway through the whole movie at this point. The B-plot of the movie, though, actually involves Mrs. Flax, as she falls for a lonely storekeeper played by Bob Hoskins. As she falls more and more in love with him, and as he wants to have more of a committed relationship with her, she needs to decide if she should shed her skin of her old lifestyle. Hoskins' character serves as a nice quirky new addition to this family. He's a painter and a big baseball fan with his own bucket list of achievements. What I like especially in the film is how both Mrs. Flax and Charlotte are emotionally separated from each other for most of the movie, much like a real mother and teen daughter. They barely even have a conversation with each other. The only thing they can agree on is their motherly duties to Ricci's character, Kate. Despite it being her first role, Ricci plays her very well and serves kindly as an emotional core to the movie, with it being no wonder she got a career after this film. Mermaids is a kind-hearted movie that has a lot of love and hope in it, and I can't imagine the film's original, darker tone. The idea for the film was way different than what came out eventually. It was supposed to be the first American film directed by Swedish director Lasse Hallström. However, his darker tone, which apparently included Charlotte committing suicide, and Hallström's desire to direct another film, forced him to leave the project. He was replaced by Frank Oz, who started production but had to halt it when Cher wasn't clashing well with original Charlotte actress Emily Lloyd. They replaced her with Winona Ryder, which eventually led Lloyd to sue the production companies, eventually leading to a settlement. As for Oz, he had clashed with both Ryder and Cher, so he also left the project. Eventually the film was directed by Richard Benjamin, and to be honest, I like the more comedic approach better. It definitely brings the audience in more with it and plays more to the actor's strengths. Mermaids is a cute film that even though it takes place at a very specific time, it can be watched and enjoyed at any age. You can watch Mermaids for free on Tubi or Pluto TV, or you can check it out at your local library. With Weston Media Center, I'm Joey Haskins, and I'll see you all next time.